What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? It's your girl Survivor Speaks, and today we are going to be resuming the rewind of um, Darrell Brooks. We're on day 4, and so we are using content or video from Mush Mouth Joe. Let me just see if let me just get his YouTube up here. So that is Mush Mouth Joe's link information. You can go over there. You can check him out. The opinions of Mush Mouth Joe are his, and not the opinion of Survivor Speaks or this channel. However, he does have he believes in what he believes in, and that's his business. I'm just glad that he cut all the fluff out of this Darrell Brooks video, and he's allowing reuse of the video. So of course I want to share his page, so you guys can go over there and check it out if you want. But those are the videos that we're using to watch the rewind of Mr. Darrell Brooks. All right, so now let's get to the thick of things. We're going to go through some legalities first, and then we'll be right back to jump right into where we left off on the rewind of Darrell Brooks. And also like to say to the Waukesha community, you are always in my thoughts and my prayers. I hope that the community is trying to get back to some sense of normalcy, because I know that it takes a lot, like, to deal with something, a big tragedy like that. And and next month is the anniversary of the Waukesha parade. So I'm wishing to just have this done by then. But we are on the side of the Waukesha community. No way are we in no way are we dealing. Are we on the side of Darrell Brooks? What he did was heinous, and we're just rewinding to let the people know that this is who Darrell Brooks is, and his trial was just so crazy. So yeah, that's why we're doing a rewind on it. This video is sponsored by Restream. I am a Restream partner. I will link the Restream link in the description. You can go over there by using that link, and you can start an account. I also have a code for 20% off of the Restream subscription. And so now that we have that out of the way, now we're going to get into some legalities and go ahead and start the show so we can jump right into the Darrell Brooks content.
Full cycle, I just might though, just like a Michael. Mama gone now, I'm thinking death is not we entitled. And it was me versus me, them battles had to fight through. And when you way in the dark, them demons try to fight you. But you can't let them when you gotta see the damn light. Diabetes came from nowhere, messed up whole life. That's what I used to to think my mama helped me out. I got one there in the sky to make proud, don't count me out. Let's get it started, rest in peace my mama, I don't wanna talk. Fresh fit, who that little nigga, fresh the way he walk. New drip, I'm that one dude creating all the sauce. News flip, you that one do the worker, not a boss. It's safe to say that after all this, I'm standing tall. It's safe to say that after all this, I'm still gon' ball. It's safe to say that after all this, I never fall. I never fall.
What's up? What's up? And we are back, and now we're going to get into some legalities really quick. Stand by.
This video is being shown to you under the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use. Tips the balance in favor of fair use. And we're out.
Yes. So I'm back. It's me here, Survivor Speaks. And as promised, we're going to get right into the show. I don't plan to be here all day. But I'm here nonetheless. If you stop by on a replay or, anything like that, give the video a thumbs up. Also, for my channel members, I do have a channel emoji for Darrell Brooks. It says grounds on it, GROUNZ. So you get access to the special emojis through the membership. So once we're at the point of the trial where grounds becomes just like a common word for him, because the judge explained to him, like, you need to make like one word objections. You cannot be testifying through your objection. And so he heard the prosecutors and whatever, or somebody gave him the advice, just say grounds when you object. And he's been running it in the grounds because he doesn't say grounds, GROUNDS. He says GROUZ. That's how Survivor Speaks spelled it. Grounds. So yeah, if you are a member, take advantage of using that during the stream. And we're going to start day 4 of the Darrell Brooks trial.
Johnson versus Darrell E. Brooks, case number 21 CF 1848. May I have the appearances, please?
Yes, good morning, Judge. Leslie Basie and Zach Witchow appearing for the state of Wisconsin.
Good morning, sir. Please state your name for the record.
I'm here as a third-party intervener in that matter, appearing as authorized representative for my client. I accept for value in return for value all of the charging instruments in this matter and make my exemption available for discharge of all obligation charges connected with this case. I do not dispute any of the facts in these charging instruments, and I do not consent to or agree to being called that name.
To this court, as Darrell Brooks is appearing in person in custody. He is also in civilian or street clothing, in a suit and tie, also wearing a mask. Mr. Brooks, I know today you're also not wearing headsets. I just want to make a record. Yesterday, they were offered to you, even charged. The different charging unit was provided. I did not see you wearing the headset at any point in time. And from my perspective, given your either legal arguments made, comments to the court, or questioning of witnesses that you were able to hear, but I just feel it important, given that you raised that issue, to put that on the record. I do want to address the case law that was filed by Mr. Brooks. I have sir, because there was this United States v. Lopez. I had looked up a case. I don't know if it's the one that you were referring to. I asked you if it was from 1995. You thought it was. Have you been able to look through your documents to tell me which United States v. Lopez you were referring?
I have not, but I also cited Higgins versus Levine as well, 415 U.S. 533, or I think you may have
I was able to find Higgins versus Levine and Malo versus United States. I also found a case that is captioned United States versus Lopez. It was decided in 1995. It had to do with the
Jurisdiction.
no one had to do with a provision in the federal statutes regarding the gun safe free zone and whether that was constitutional or not. It was a criminal case, but nonetheless, that was one of the major issues in that case. So I don't know if that's the case you were referring or not. And without a citation, it's hard for me to know. So that's why I'm asking you if you have any other information about that case.
I can possibly look on a break, but my understanding of that particular case was dealing with the specifics of subject matter and personal jurisdiction, which is why it was brought up for the record, which is something that I have been doing adamantly, is asking for the court to provide verified proof of jurisdiction, which I have not been provided with as of yet.
The court's not required to do that, sir. I understand what your objection is. It's been noted for the record multiple times, and the previous rulings of the court stand. I see no reason to revisit those issues, or what we call legally a motion for reconsideration, even if I were to take your reference to these cases as a request to reconsider based on a new legal argument. The cases that I reviewed don't support that. I do want to give the state an opportunity to at least make a record their position, and then I'll give you the last word if you want to make a legal argument to the contrary.
I do.
All right, so go ahead. I believe Attorney Basie, you were going to do that.
I was. Your Honor, I did review the U.S. versus Lopez. The Lopez case that you cited at 514 U.S. 549, as the court already indicated, it deals with the Gun-Free School Zone Act, which is a federal offense. The court found that that Congress exceeded its authority under the Commerce Clause, and therefore there was no jurisdiction. I don't find any analogy between that case and this case. Again, I'm not sure if that is the Lopez case that the defendant was referring to. With regard to Malo versus United States, this was a case involving an accident that the plaintiff had with an employee of the U.S. Postal Service who was driving a U.S. postal truck, and the issue became whether or not there was a valid claim against the U.S. Postal Service as a result of a claim filed against the employee, and the court held that there was not, and therefore jurisdiction was not conferred to the United States. Again, not a case that is on point with any issue that's been raised in this case. And finally, Higgins versus Levine at 415 U.S. 533. Again, this is one in which the district court was found to have had jurisdiction to hear the plaintiff's claim. It was a case in which a New York, state of New York regulation addressed New York's ability to recoup some payments from AFDC, I believe, and there was a claim that violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. The district court did have jurisdiction to hear the plaintiff's claim. Again, I did not find any verbiage from any of these three cases that would raise any type of argument in this case that this court does not have jurisdiction to hear this case.
Thank you. Mr. Brooks, your response.
Yeah, I respectfully object to that. It's clear in both of those cases that ultimately those cases were called correct by the Supreme Court, and that both cases ended up being voided because there was no jurisdiction. Same thing in this case. How it applies is this court has yet to prove that it has jurisdiction. It has not been proven. There's been no certified document paperwork. There's been no proof. There's been no response to the demand for the statement of particulars. There's been no response to, we haven't even established that the plaintiff is a living human being and not an entity. There's so many things that have yet to even be proven. And again, if both cases that were just cited were voided by the Supreme Court for lack of jurisdiction, how is this case any different?
Thank you for your argument, sir. First of all, the Higgins and the Malo decisions, or Malo, these were civil lawsuits. They weren't criminal cases at all. They dealt with the issue of a federal question or federal claims and jurisdiction in the district court for those particular cases. There's nothing that's applicable to a criminal case in state court for this court to even. They may be case law, maybe law as it relates to that, but they're not relevant to the proceedings in this case.
Hey, Don, you was never here.
In
I
the
know.
Malo decision, for example, that had to do with a lack of jurisdiction because the plaintiff had failed to exhaust administrative remedies. That's not something that's applicable here. And so in that case, the court did not have jurisdiction. In the Higgins case, again, it had to do with a federal claim and jurisdiction related to that, and not criminal charges brought by a state against a individual. The Lopez decision, while a criminal case, dealt with a federal law and whether the district court had jurisdiction. In Lopez, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down a federal statute that had made an offense criminal, and because of that, there was no jurisdiction. There have been no similar arguments made in this case at all. The arguments that you raise related to the Bill of Particulars, related to those types of issues, have all been debunked throughout the ages in the courts of the United States, both in state court and in fed. Direct your attention once again, United States versus Beneby, 654 F. 3rd 753. It's a 2011 decision from the Seventh Circuit that is very on point as to the arguments that you are raising. So there's no requirement for this court to do what you are asking or demanding it to do. And for all of those reasons, this court will deny your request to dismiss, deny your request for the demand for particulars, even going back to one of the filings from the 3rd,
Denied.
dealing with your demand for a verified statement, your notice of special appearance. All of those things have been noted on the record, but to the extent that the court needs to respond to any of those, once again, your demands and requests and objections are either overruled or denied, as the case may be.
Your Honor, may I respectfully request a legal reconsideration for your ruling?
Nope.
No, I just went through my reasoning, sir. So without you meeting the standard under a motion for reconsideration under Section 806.07, that request is summarily denied without any further argument. All right, with that...
For the record, may I request a legal or factual basis for your ruling, as you just cited, Your Honor?
No.
I just provided a legal basis, sir.
You just cited a case law from United States versus Veneby, correct?
My reasoning stands. The record before you and on the record speaks for itself. I'm not going to address this any further. Your objections are noted.
Respectfully, Your Honor, may I ask for a written judicial finding of facts and conclusion of law in this matter?
So,
You may request. That request is denied.
For the record, may I respectfully move for an interlocutory declaratory appeal on this matter, Your Honor?
That is not an issue this court would address. That would be for an appellate court, sir.
For the record, may I move to stay these proceedings until this instant matter is adjudicated by a court of competent jurisdiction?
That request is denied. This is a court of competent jurisdiction.
Based
and
on
we'll
what?
proceed.
Based on what law or fact, Your Honor?
All right, Mr. Brooks, your objections are noted. I want to keep moving forward today.
May I respectfully object to that, Your Honor, based on the fact that you cited something that was a federal law, and then the cases that you went over in the challenge of jurisdiction were all dealing with federal guidelines.
This court's not going to explain the law to you, sir. I've cited the law, but I just direct you to those decisions. I believe they speak for themselves, and your request for any further articulation by this court as to the basis for the court's decision is denied.
May I respectfully object, Your Honor, and still ask for verified proof of...
Mr. Brooks, I've already addressed that. The request is denied. All right, moving on. Can the state... I'm moving on, Mr. Brooks. Thank you. Your objections are noted. Attorney Opper, I'd like to address the issue...
Object, Your Honor.
Your objections noted. I would like to address the issue of the subpoenas that were turned over to the state. If you could just make a record on that.
Yes,
Thank you. We have received the subpoenas that were provided by Mr. Brooks. I believe there were 12 in total. We are endeavoring to have all the individuals properly served, and we will assist in arranging their appearance here in the courtroom at the appropriate time, with the exception of that one individual who we believe has relocated to the state of Texas. There are no other concerns that the state has at this point in getting those subpoenas served and getting these people here. I do want to advise the court that one of the witnesses on Mr. Brooks' subpoena list does need a Spanish interpreter, and that also reminds me to update the court on our progress in that regard. For this case, we believe if we would need a Spanish interpreter, and it's still unknown to us, or uncertain I should say, it'd be later tomorrow morning, like probably after the morning break or even after lunch. We could call these witnesses out of order if we had to. So if you want to just say possibly 1 p.m. tomorrow, we could certainly work around that. And then when we get to Mr. Brooks' case, one of his witnesses will need an interpreter as well. We'll try and help the court keep track of that as well.
Can you tell me the name of the witness for Mr. Brooks that needs an interpreter?
Juan Marquez.
And this, can you just give me a little bit more background? What I'm contemplating is, because I need to make arrangements for the interpreter, is perhaps we could have that person brought at the same time the other witness needs an interpreter, and do those witnesses, depending on how long they take, it may or may not be back to back, but maybe there'd be a witness in between, just for court efficiency and to make sure we have an interpreter available.
Yes, I understand, and we could potentially call him out of order. He is in the group with the same group that we would need Spanish interpreters for. That would be the Catholic community of Waukesha. So we're projecting to get to that testimony tomorrow morning for our case.
All right, thank you. I'm contemplating, Mr. Brooks, that since the witness you want is part of that group, and there's a possibility that they will need an interpreter, if that's the situation, then I'm going to require that Mr. Marquez be produced at that point for questioning. You'll be questioning him first, since it would be your witness, but I want to make wise use of our resource as it relates to the interpreter. It can be challenging to schedule interpreters, especially on a last-minute basis. All right, Mr. Brooks, any questions about what I've advised you about the interpreter? Does that change your decision at all to call the witness?
It doesn't change me wanting to call the witness, and I want to state for the record that I object to being called their name. I'm a living and breathing human being. I do have questions. You're well aware that once we went off the record, $13, and
Darrell Brooks.
I believe I turned in 12
Darrell
because
Brooks.
the prosecution stated that
Who are you, sir?
maybe one of them had relocated, but there was just a little bit more clarification that I didn't have yesterday about that whole situation, if they relocated or how that would play into them being subpoenaed. So
Is there a question as it relates to that, or just you're making that record?
I'm making that record, and also I wasn't sure yesterday, and maybe I should have asked before we went off the record, should I have just turned in all 13 subpoenas that I had and then just wait to see what more information could have been learned from that?
You can certainly give them the 13th subpoena, and we can make a further record later if need be, and we'll go from there. I mean, obviously, as officers of the court, they're telling me that they have this information about a witness being out of state. There's a different procedure for obtaining a witness that is from out of state, including that the person calling that witness needs to make the travel arrangements, and that's in the rules of procedure. So, but it's up to you if you want to turn that one over so that it's officially one that you turned over, given that you had been given that information and then the subpoenas needed to be refilled or filled out again. I'm certainly willing to have that turned over to them, and at a later point, further record can be made if needed.
If in the event that takes place, would it be the same procedure, me having to stay after, or how would it work from that point? Because I would essentially say it would make more sense to just fill them out all together and file them together, so everything is just together. It makes it easier.
Fill out the one.
Just the one?
Yes. Do you need another form?
I have another form.
All right. Do you have a copy of the first time you filled it out, so you have some of that information readily at your fingertips?
I believe I do. I don't want to say I'm 100% sure. I would have to do some minimal looking through all the paperwork.
If not, I have the first batch of subpoenas on my table in my chambers, and I can bring it out.
I'm pretty sure if it's not in the paperwork that's in front of me, it's in one of these boxes, which, as you see, is a lot of paperwork. I'm positive that it's there. I would just have to.
Well, let me know when I break. Like I said, I have it readily available and certainly can give it back to you to look at. All right. What about did you hear me advise you about the interpreter and making arrangements and potentially calling your witness out of order because of that?
I think that was pretty clear.
Okay. Just want you to be prepared for the possibility that tomorrow you may need to call that witness, or the witness will be made available and you may need to question that witness tomorrow. So I just want you to be prepared for that.
So that should be the first witness call?
It would be out of order. It would still be during the state's case in chief, but if we have the interpreter here because they need it, because they're not clear yet if they need that interpreter or not, if they use the interpreter and the interpreter's here, and then I'm going to also ask that they make arrangements to have Mr. Marquez available so that the interpreter, we can wisely use the interpreter resource and call those individuals, if not back to back, within short order of one another. Sometimes we have to give the interpreter a break and a rest. So that's why it might not be back to back, but in any event, you should be prepared potentially to question that witness. If they don't call the interpreter and the interpreter's not here and we haven't made arrangements, then I'm going to work with my staff and the clerk's office to make sure we have an interpreter during your case. You'll just need to tell me where in the 12 you want to call that person so I can better schedule.
In the 13.
Well, you have 13, but one's an out of state, so I'm told. But all right, very good. Anything else from the state then?
No, that was it for today, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Brooks, anything other than what we've already talked about?
Yeah, I don't know if the clerk received 2 ICF forms that I submitted.
I don't know if anything. I can check my electronic inbox. Let me just do that real quick and see if there's anything there.
Well, one of the ICFs we just addressed, that would be the one that I filled out last night, coming back from the proceedings yesterday. We just addressed that. That was dealing with the subpoenas.
Okay. All right, I don't see it. I'll make sure that my staff knows to look for it, and when we get it, it'll be uploaded, and then we can address it at a break.
The other one was dealing with asking for my court docket sheet.
What do you mean by that, sir?
I would like a certified copy of my court docket sheet.
I need to know what you mean by that, sir. There's many documents in the record. There are docket entries that are part of the electronic file.
Is the entire every court proceeding, is that part of the electronic? What did you just say?
A recording of the proceedings?
No. I want the actual docket sheet from every court proceeding that I've had in dealing with this matter.
Well, you'll have to address that to the clerk of court.
I did.
Okay, so then that's why it didn't come to me and I wouldn't seen it. I'm not the custodian of the record. It's the clerk of court under the statute. So
was it received?
I don't know, but I can find out. And on a break, we can advise. I'll direct Teresa to find out from the clerk of court if she received that. But she'll respond in due course.
It was addressed to Miss Monica Paz.
Okay, that's our clerk of court, so that's good that you did that. All right, anything else then? Other than what we've already talked about?
Nope.
Okay, very well. State will have its next witness then when we bring the jury out. Okay, very well. Madam Clerk, please have the jury brought out. Thank you, everyone. Please be seated, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All right, the state may call its next witness.
Thank you. The state calls Kelly Graffow.
Good morning, Ms. Graffow. If you would please make your way to the witness stand. When you get there, please remain standing. Please raise your right hand, and there is a step.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. First thing I will have you do is to state your first and last names for the record and spell each.
My first name is Kelly, Kelly, last name Grabbow, Grabow.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
I want to ask you about Sunday afternoon, November 21st of 2021, okay?
Okay.
Did you take part in the Waukesha Christmas parade that day?
Yes.
Were you a spectator or a participant? Why were you there?
I was walking with Burst Logistics, my daughter and I.
What's your daughter's name?
Adelia
Last name?
Mafioli.
How long is Adelia? Excuse me, how old is Adelia?
She's 10 now. She was 9 at the time.
Okay. She was walking with you with Burst Logistics?
Yes.
Do you remember where your group was positioned in the parade in terms of who was behind you and who was in front of you?
Yes, we were directly between the Waukesha Blazers and Waukesha South Marching Band.
Okay, so which of those two were behind you?
Waukesha South Band was behind us.
Gotcha. What were you wearing that day?
Well, my daughter was dressed up as Cindy Lou Who, and I was wearing my elf dress with candy cane leggings.
Did the parade go smoothly?
No,
Why not?
we were struck by a vehicle.
Can you describe how that happened for us?
While we were walking through, my daughter came walking over by me, and she went to go get more candy to go hand out to the kids. So she walked over, grabbed candy, and as she was walking off to the side, I noticed there was a difference in the sound behind us than what I was hearing throughout. So right as she walked off to the side and I seen she walked to the side, I turned. I don't know if I turned fully or just my head. And as I turned, all I seen was the hood of a red vehicle, and I hit the red vehicle and rolled down to the side and landed directly between the Burst Logistics float and the red vehicle, and I seen the tire go directly in front of my face.
Okay. So the Burst Logistics float that you just described, what was that?
There was a black truck pulling it. We had I believe there was a snowman in the back of the black truck, and then we had the Grinch in the float.
Which side of the truck were you on when you were struck?
I was on the driver's side of the Burst.
Okay. Where was Adelia?
Adelia, when she grabbed the candy and walked off to the side, I thought she was over by the sidewalk when I spun to look.
And what did you see when you spun?
The red hood of the vehicle.
When did you next see Adelia?
After I realized what just happened, I jumped up and took off running to go find her. And I seen her in the middle of the road, which I don't know how she got to that position from where I seen her last, but she was lying in the middle of the road, and there were some people around her trying to help her. Her shoes were down the road, as well as her glasses.
Your Honor, Exhibit 22 has previously been received and published. I'd ask to publish that again for this witness.
Permission granted.
Ms. Graffow, did you see yourself in that video?
Yes, I did.
What about Adelia? Did you see her?
With the amount of people, I did not directly see her.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning. Let's go at about 50% speed.
Objection is the relevance is shown to be.
Yield to us.
Overruled.
Grounds.
It's relevant.
Grounds.
Do you see yourself at this 3-second mark?
Yes, I do.
Just tell us where you are in the screen.
We're directly in front of the Waukesha Band banner. Adelia is wearing a red cape, shawl, with black and white checkered leggings. It was really cold and windy that day. And then I have the candy cane dress on with my jacket and a hat and candy cane leggings.
And what does it appear at this moment that you're doing with Adelia?
Giving her more candy.
What did we see you doing at the end of the video there?
I was lying between the vehicles.
Did you get up at some point?
Yes.
Okay, and then
Ran directly to my daughter.
what injuries, if any, did you sustain as a result of being struck by the SUV?
I think there's ligament damage in my knee as well as my hand. I did have some bruising and some road rash on my knees.
Were you treated at a medical facility
Waukesha Memorial Hospital.
the night of the incident?
It was way later. I went in because I rode in the ambulance with my daughter. I refused to go anywhere else besides stay with her the entire time. So I stayed with her. We rode 2 children's. In the ambulance, they did check me in the ambulance and see that I was stable and okay to do what I was doing. So I stayed with my daughter at Children's Hospital, and I did not want to leave her until I knew she was at home in bed safe.
What injuries, if any, did Adelia sustain?
Massive bruising all up and down her back. She had a broken hand, road rash all on her face.
All the questions I have. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Jubilee Cross for this witness.
Before you struck by the vehicle, you said that you heard changes in sound to the parade. That was the people marching in the parade in the back of you, right?
Yes.
Do you recall what the sounds were that you heard?
It was just a change in the tone behind me. It wasn't the Jubilee sound that we were hearing throughout the parade. You could tell something behind us.
Did it get louder?
Yeah,
Was it already pretty noisy with the parade going on?
it was noisy.
And you stated that it was really windy and cold that evening.
Yes, very.
Would it be any reason why I wouldn't be able to hear everything going on behind you?
I wouldn't say I wouldn't be able to hear everything behind us because I heard the change in the sound of the band, so obviously I could hear what was going on directly behind me.
The vehicle that struck you, do you recall seeing a driver?
No, I seen the red hood of the vehicle. That's all I seen.
So you didn't see the driver or anybody in the vehicle?
No, again, I just seen the red hood as it ran into me.
No license plates or?
Nope.
You recall how fast the vehicle might have been traveling when you were struck?
It had been going at decent speed. As I said before, I did see the rear tire going past my face, and it all happened extremely fast.
So you don't recall?
With the chaos that was going around that day, no, I do not remember exactly.
And you stated that after you were struck, you got up and ran to your daughter, correct?
Yes.
And you were able to do that with your leg injury?
Yes. I guess that would be the adrenaline going through your body at that moment in time. It did give me the strength to run to my daughter.
So when was it that you knew that you had did you say knee injury?
Yes, knee and hand.
When did that pain in your leg set in?
It was immediately.
But you were still able to get up and run?
Yeah.
Do you recall how long before you received medical treatment?
We were there for quite a while. I think we were one of the last ones to leave in the ambulance as I sat with my daughter at Children's Hospital. After I got her home, where I knew she was safe and secure, I then went, my sister took me to Waukesha Memorial Hospital at, I would guesstimate that was probably around 2 in the morning, right around there, after I knew my daughter was safe.
So it's fair to say that you waited a little bit before you tended to yourself?
I attended to my daughter prior to myself to make sure my daughter was safe, yes.
Do you recall how long you were treated?
I'd probably say about two hours I was at the hospital.
Did they give you any pain medication or?
I was taking ibuprofen and Tylenol, that is it.
Do you recall what time you arrived at the parade?
Well, since we were walking with the parade, we had to be there early. We staged probably around 3, I would say. I think it was.
And were you able to see what the vehicle did after you were struck?
No, my only attention at that point in time was to find my daughter and attend to my daughter.
So you didn't see what, the route that the vehicle traveled or anything after that?
I seen the aftermath after it went through. That was it.
Do you recall how long you were marching in the parade when you were struck?
I do not recall how long we were there.
Were you near any cross streets or intersections?
I don't know the name of the intersection, but yes, there was. I know we're right by Bosco's. There's a little walkway that takes you down to the river, or there's a little tiny side street off to the side.
Do you recall if they were barricaded?
I do not recall.
Do you recall if any law enforcement may have been standing by those intersections?
Do not recall.
Do you recall any reports coming over any radios by law enforcement?
I do not recall that. The only thing I heard after we were hit was shots fired.
So you did hear shots fired. Did that
I
come
don't know if it was directly from a cop or if it was people running.
Did you hear the shots?
I did not.
So after you were struck, it would be fair to say that it got louder than what it was before?
After, in the middle of the complete chaos, yes.
With all the noise and chaos going on, do you think it would have been hard for you to hear a horn honking?
I did not hear a horn.
Would it have been hard? The question was, would it have been hard for you to hear it?
Before it got to us or after?
After it became chaotic.
I was not listening for a horn after we had already been hit by the vehicle.
So it would be fair to say you wouldn't be able to recall?
I would not be able to recall that.
Did you file any claim in this incident?
What do you mean by claim?
Did you file a report as an injured party in this matter?
Yes.
So it would be fair to say that you identify yourself as an injured party?
I was injured by the circumstances that day, yes.
Do you recall the officer that you reported your claim with?
I do not recall.
Have you seen or read a complaint in this matter?
What do you mean by that?
Have you seen a written complaint or read a written complaint in this matter? Grounds.
Mr. Brooks, are you referring to the criminal complaint in this case or something else?
I'm referring to something else, the complaint.
Well, then I'll sustain the objection. As to the form of the question, it's vague.
May I respectfully ask on what grounds, Your Honor?
It's vague. Next question, or rephrase.
Do you know of any complaint being filed in this matter? Grounds.
Sustained.
Grounds.
As to the form of the question.
Were you aware that it may be possible that you could give testimony in this matter?
Yes, I was aware of that.
Did you seek to give testimony in this matter?
I was okay with doing so.
And who were you informed by?
The district attorney's office.
Was that in form of a subpoena or was it a conversation? Or?
Well, at first it was knowing that there was a possibility and then the subpoena.
So it'd be fair to say that you did have a conversation?
Conversation?
With the district attorney's office?
Yes.
Did they ever inform you of who the plaintiff was in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Are you aware of any plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Relevance.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Have you ever talked to the plaintiff in this matter? Ever seen the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained under 90611. Mr. Brooks, you need to move on to a new topic or I will close the cross-examination.
I will move on. It has to be some type of ground stated other than relevancy or anything like that. The real ground should be put on record, Your Honor. We all deserve to know. The jury deserves to know.
It's not relevant. Move on.
So are you bringing this claim against the accused defendant in this matter?
Objection. Vague.
Grounds.
Sustained.
On what grounds, Your Honor?
It's vague. As to the form of the question.
Have you seek to receive any recovered damages or anything in the matter?
The only thing that we got was help to pay for our medical bills, as that was something that was completely unexpected from a Christmas parade.
Is that through the state of Wisconsin?
It was through, I forgot the name of what it was.
Are you listed as a plaintiff in this matter?
Am I listed as a plaintiff in this
Are
matter?
you the plaintiff? Did you file the claim?
Objection.
That's a compound
Relevance.
question. Sustained as to the form of the question. Mr. Brooks?
Did you file a claim?
90611. Move on. You've already asked about whether she filed a report. Move on.
Do you see the state of Wisconsin president in court?
Objection.
Grounds.
sustained under 906.11. I warned you to avoid that topic or I would cease cross-exam, so I'll give you one more opportunity to ask a different line of questioning.
Do you recall when you gave your interview to law enforcement?
It was a few days after.
Would it be fair to say it was a few days or a week or so?
I don't actually remember the exact time.
Do you remember being interviewed by Detective Jeffrey Adent?
I remember being interviewed. I don't remember what the officer's name was.
Do you remember where you were interviewed?
At my house.
Do you recall if it was on November 30 of 2021?
I don't remember the exact dates.
Can you recall why it took a little bit for you to be interviewed by law enforcement?
I'm guessing because of how many people were injured throughout this parade. It did take a while to get around to everybody.
Did you seek to be interviewed in any way?
I don't think I seeked, but I did inform them that I was injured, as well as my daughter.
But you don't recall calling any law enforcement or attempting to file a report?
Law enforcement that was there at the parade took people's name and it all ended up going to them.
Did you follow up in the days after?
I don't recall if I did.
Do you recall stating that you did not see what happened to your daughter?
I do recall that.
Do you recall being left a business card by Dr. Darrell L. Williams, PhD?
Yes, I do.
Would it be fair to say that he was the one that told you what happened?
I still to this day don't know directly what happened to my daughter. I just know that she was hit by the red vehicle as I was laying on the ground after I was hit.
So it would be fair to say if you didn't see what actually happened to your daughter, you didn't see what happened to anyone else? Right.
Oh, take the wheel.
Sustain this in the form of the question.
Would it be fair to say that to see if anyone else was struck?
From the position I was in, I seen a tire going in front of me, so no, I did not see directly anywhere besides the tire going in front of my face.
So it would be fair to say that you didn't see anyone get struck besides yourself?
It would be kind of difficult to see beyond that.
No further questions.
Can you redirect?
Can I just clarify, Ms. Graffow? The last time you saw your daughter before you got struck, where was she?
Objection.
Overruled.
She was walking over. She came over by me to get more candy to pass out, and she was walking off to the sidewalk to hand out more candy.
Sidewalk on which side of the Burris float?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
That would be to the driver's side of, so to the left.
Okay. And then you got struck. And where's the next place that you saw Adelia?
I seen it too.
Overruled.
You didn't see anything.
It's not hearsay, Mr. Brooks.
That's the definition of hearsay.
Mr. Brooks, the objection is noted. It's overruled.
On what grounds, Your Honor?
I direct your attention to section 90801, sir. You may answer the question.
After I got up, I found my daughter in the middle of the road. She was no longer by the sidewalk.
Where was she in relation to the Burris, the truck that was pulling the float?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
On what grounds?
Direct your attention to 90801, sir. It's not hearsay. Go ahead and answer.
She was towards the driver's side, the front end of the vehicle. So she was more towards the front of the vehicle.
You testified that after you were struck, the noise in the area increased. It got louder. You're
Yes.
saying that? And so, as a result of that increase in noise, you weren't listening for a horn?
No,
Okay. What about before you got struck? Did you hear the sound of a horn?
I did not.
Hearsay.
It's not hearsay. Overruled. Would you just repeat your answer, please?
I did not hear a horn.
Thank you. You're doing fine, but if there is an objection, let me rule on it first, just so we're not talking over each other. Okay. Thank you.
And I'm well done, Judge. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. You may step down. Thank you. You may call your next witness in.
The state will call Jeffrey Rogers.
You're about to show me the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Please have a seat. The first thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and spell each, please.
Okay. Jeff Rogers, Jeffrogers.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Sir, do you live in the city of Waukesha?
Yes, I do.
Are you familiar with the program, the Waukesha Blazers Youth Baseball Program?
Yes, I am.
Overruled.
Yes, I currently serve as the president.
And what is the Blazers Youth Program?
We have teams. We have a rookies program, which is ages 5 up to 12. We also have a select baseball program and softball program, and that ranges from ages 7 all the way up through high school.
Is this for boys and girls?
Yes.
So direct your attention to November 21st of last year. Were the Blazers part of the City of Waukesha Christmas Parade?
Yes, we were.
And do you recall the day?
Yes.
Approximately what time did you have to get to the parade to set up?
It was probably an hour before the parade started.
And was the parade starting approximately 4 o'clock?
Yes.
What was the weather like?
It was cool, windy, I remember cloudy.
Who was all walking with the Blazers that day? I mean, not names, but generally speaking, was it players, coaches?
Sure, it was coaches, players, and some family members.
Did you have a float?
A pickup truck.
And was that truck marked with the Blazers?
We had banners all sides of the truck, yes.
Do you recall any group that were in front, or a group that was in front of you or behind you?
From my memory, I remember the extreme dance group in front of us. I don't remember who was in back.
Okay. And were you there, was it just you, or did you have any kids that were involved in the program at that time?
I was there with 3 of my 4 children, one of which was playing on my baseball team.
Okay. And I'm assuming that there were other parents there?
Yes.
With their kids? And specifically, were two of your kids there, Caden, Cayden, and Riley, Ryllee?
Yes.
And which one of those, does either one of those play with the program?
Caden plays on my team.
Okay, and Riley was there for?
Support.
Okay.
She used to play in the program.
Okay, and then you had a third child there?
Yes.
Do you know Josh Craner?
Yes, I do.
And what is his involvement with the Blazers?
He was a first-year coach for our 9U.
Okay, and he was also walking?
Yes, he was walking the parade.
And did you have a formation for the parade, or was it just people kind of walking next to the truck, behind the truck?
All over the truck, we were handing out little flyers.
Promoting the Blazers, I'm assuming?
Correct.
Specifically, do you remember two players, Jackson and Tucker Sparks?
I do.
Were they there?
Yes, they were.
And was their dad there?
Yes.
Okay, and they were also walking the parade?
Yes.
Do you recall if they were wearing uniforms?
I believe Jackson was wearing his uniform. I don't remember if Tucker was.
I'm going to show you what's been Exhibit 11. I'm just going to display it in front of the screen in front of you.
Objection, how long? This is the video.
It's 2 minutes and 29 seconds.
So would that be the entire video?
That would be the entire Exhibit 11. Go ahead. I'm going to stop the video at 28 seconds. Did you recognize that as the Blazers float group that was marching the parade?
Yes, I saw myself and all the people walking with me.
Okay, did you see Josh Craner?
I did.
Did you see either one of your kids, Caden or Riley?
I saw Caden and Maya.
Okay, and then did you also see Jackson and Tucker Sparks?
I did see Jackson. I don't recall seeing Tucker.
Okay, let's play it again from the beginning. I'm going to pause it. The shorter of the two kids, do you know, is that Jackson or Tucker?
That's Jackson.
Okay, so the taller is Tucker.
I believe so.
At some point, there's a vehicle that came through the parade, correct?
Correct.
This was before that time period, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear any type of commotion or anything that drew your attention to behind you during the parade route?
Yes, I remember hearing some sort of scream. Couldn't tell if it was part of the parade or not. Turned over my left shoulder to see, I remember a wheel falling over. I'm thinking like, oh no, somebody fell off their bike or somebody got hurt. So I turned back around, and at that point the screams got louder and I saw people running, or heard people running and lots of screaming. So I turned around again, and that's when I saw a red SUV coming at us, and I pulled my daughter Maya out of the way.
At that time, do you recall, you said Maya was next to you?
Yes.
Do you recall where Caden was?
I remember Caden was up to the left of our vehicle. That's somewhere, wasn't sure exactly.
And if you can recall, was the vehicle in the middle of Main Street?
Objection, there's that.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
From what I remember, yes.
And what side were you on? Were you at the back of the vehicle or the side of the vehicle?
I was pretty much directly behind our vehicle, in the middle of the road.
Okay. And Caden was where in relationship to you?
To my left.
Okay. And your daughter, Maya?
Maya was standing right next to me on my left.
Okay. And Riley?
And Riley was up somewhere by Caden.
Do you recall where Josh Craner was?
Josh was to my left as well.
And how about Jackson and Tucker Sparks?
I recall them being in front of me, I'm not sure, maybe a little to the left as well.
So when you look back, you said you heard screaming, you heard yelling and running. Did you hear a horn honking?
I did not.
When you first observed the red SUV, first of all, let's start that. Was there a group immediately after the Blazers team in the parade?
Objection.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
Are you talking behind us or in front of us?
Behind. Was there someone directly behind you, or was there a gap between you and whoever was behind you? If you recall, when you look back, was there a float right behind you?
I don't remember seeing a float right behind us.
Okay. And people were running. Could you tell where they were?
From what I remember, towards me and to the sides of the street.
And when you first saw this, you said a red vehicle?
Yes.
Did you have a word? Was it a car, a SUV, a pickup truck?
I remember it being larger than a car. How I described it to other people was an SUV.
And how was it coming at you? Was it on the, it sounds like you were behind the truck. You said Kane was to your left, which would be, and I'm horrible at directions, but that would be the south side of the street. Was it coming on the south side of the street, the middle of the street, or the north side of the street, which would have been to your right?
Objection, there's that.
Overruled. You may answer.
From what I remember, it was middle, and then it moved to the left to go around our truck.
Okay. As it was coming towards you, what did you do?
My first reaction was to grab Maya, and she slipped through my hands the first time, and then luckily I grabbed her the second time and pulled her to the side. Immediately was trying to put her in the back of our vehicle because I didn't know if more cars were coming.
When you say back of your vehicle, the Blazers vehicle, or did you have a personal vehicle also in the parade?
The Blazers pickup truck.
And then what happened?
Sure. So after I got her up in the truck, I was frantically looking for my kids. I watched the SUV continue driving down the parade route, swerved back to the right after it passed our truck. I was screaming, "Where's Riley?" Caden found me, and I tried to get him in the back of the truck as well. From there, I was yelling at him, asking where Riley, screaming, "Where's Riley?" He didn't know. So I ran around the truck a couple times, and that's when I saw Jackson on the ground and stopped at him to check on him.
So where was Jack's relationship? I'm assuming that once the red SUV came through, did the parade stop?
Yes.
Where was Jackson in relationship to the Blazers pickup truck?
From what I remember, he was in the front of the truck, to the left.
Was there anyone else around him at that time?
His dad, Aaron.
Did you talk to Aaron?
I did.
And what observations did you make of Jackson?
Jackson was motionless on the ground, eyes open, didn't appear to be aware.
Did he appear to be alive?
Was unsure.
Did you find out that he died as a result of being struck?
I did.
Overruled. Please answer my stand.
So when the car came through, the red SUV, it went to which side of the truck?
The left side.
Okay. And that's where you said Caden was. Did Caden get struck?
Caden told me he did.
What injuries did he have?
Objection, here's that. Just didn't tell. It's not for sure.
Overruled. This witness may answer based on personal knowledge.
So Caden said he saw.
Hold on. That would be okay. So I'll sustain the objection if you would rephrase the question.
What injuries did Caden have?
He had bruising on his right elbow.
And do you know if Caden got struck by the red SUV?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
Yes, he did.
Did you see Jackson or Tucker Sparks struck by the SUV?
Sitting here today, I do not remember that.
Did you give a statement at some point, it was part of a parade survey, if you recall that?
Yes.
That was, I think, created by the victim program, sent out by this program, and then you have sent it back. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
And was that something that you created?
Yes, those are my.
Okay. And is it correct that that form says, after that I saw the car drive past us on the left, striking two of our players, Tucker and Jackson Sparks?
Yes.
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
Yeah, that's hearsay.
Overruled. His answer may stand.
Thank you. I'm assuming that the event was fresher in your mind when you gave that statement versus a year later?
Yes, I believe everything in that statement is accurate.
Okay, thank you. And do you know if Jackson Sparks was injured? I'm sorry, Tucker Sparks.
Yes, he was.
Okay. Do you know what injuries he had?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
I remember the most significant was brain bleed or a head injury.
And did you eventually find your daughter Riley?
I did.
Where was she?
She was across the street. So I had taken Maya and Caden into the antique shop on the south side of the road. She was across the street in the Civic Theater.
Was she injured as a result of a car striking her?
She was.
And what car struck her?
The red SUV.
What injuries did she receive?
She had multiple cuts, bruises, scraping on both of her legs. Her knee was pretty badly bruised.
Now, after the car went to the left side of the Blazers truck, striking the kids, did you see the path that it took?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
Yes, I remember it going back to the right side of the road after that.
So after it passed the truck?
Yes.
Did it strike the Blazers truck at all?
I don't remember.
So it went to the far right side of the road?
Yes.
And then did you see it there?
That's the last time I know of it.
So do you know approximately how far Jackson was in front of the Blazers truck when you went and you talked to his father, Aaron, who was with Jackson?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
I don't remember.
Did the vehicle stop?
No, it didn't.
Did you see it stop at any time while you had view of it?
No.
Can you estimate approximately how fast it was going before when you first took notice of the red SUV when you looked back?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
I remember thinking, this is a raid. It's 25-mile-an-hour speed limit here. If I were in my neighborhood and a car was going that fast, I would be yelling at it. So faster than the speed limit.
And I'm assuming when you're in a parade, you're not going, although the speed limit on that road might be 25 miles per hour, you're not going 25 miles per hour. Would that be a correct statement?
Absolutely.
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled. His answer may stand.
Now, before you went into the antique store, was anyone yelling anything about shots being fired?
Yeah, I don't remember who yelled it, but I heard shots were fired and to get inside the nearest building.
And did you go in right away, or were you still looking around the car for Riley?
Right. I didn't have Riley at the time, so I had to make a decision that I had 2 out of my 3 kids and took them into the antique store after that.
Prior to going into the antique store, did you see Jackson again?
I don't remember if it was before or when I came out of the antique store.
So, did you see Jackson a second time on Main Street?
Yeah.
Overruled.
Where was that, or where was he?
Yeah, so after I put Caden and Maya in the antique store, I asked the couple there to watch them because I was going to go find my other daughter. Ran back outside on Main Street, and that's when I saw Jackson again. And at that point, I believe a woman was trying to perform CPR on him.
Did you ever see Josh Crater while you were outside?
I remember.
After the vehicle had gone through, I apologize.
No, that's fine. After running back outside, I remember seeing someone near our truck that had a jacket, a brownish jacket on, and at the time I believed it was Josh. I didn't know him well at the time.
Where was he?
He was on the left side of the vehicle, our vehicle.
On the ground, did you say?
Yes, he was laying on the ground.
Okay. And at some point, how did you find Riley?
I received a phone call when I was in the antique store. It was a phone call or a text message from my friend, Ben.
And what did he have Riley?
Yeah, he said he was with her across the street and that her legs were injured, but she was okay.
And that's what I was just going to say. As a result, you had indicated that Caden did receive an injury from being struck by the car?
Yes.
Did Riley receive an injury?
Yes.
What were her injuries?
She had scrapes, bruises, abrasions up and down her legs.
And that was from the vehicle?
Yes.
Permission to publish and admit Exhibit 148 into evidence.
Objection is noted. Exhibit 148 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
Sir, it's approximately 3 minutes and 22 seconds. I'm going to play that entire video initially, and then we'll talk about it.
The entire video.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled.
What grounds?
Relevance.
What grounds?
That is the grounds. Relevance. Go ahead.
Sir, you just gave a testimony with regard to your actions. Do you see yourself in that video do a lot of the things that you just testified to?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, it looks like there's quite a few people in there walking behind Waukesha Blazers truck. Are all those people part of the Waukesha Blazers program?
It appears so, yes.
Okay. So either parents, peers, or support?
Yes.
And do you see yourself?
I do.
And can you circle where you are? And your daughter?
Maya is right here.
And do you see Caden?
No, I don't.
And do you see Josh Craner in this frame?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do you know what you were looking back at? It seemed like, as I started saying before, a lot of people were looking behind you. Is that when you heard, you said something about a wheel tipping?
Yeah, I remember the first time I turned back, seeing something tip, whether it was a stroller or a wheelchair, like some sort of tire is in my mind, and hearing screams at that time, thinking that somebody got hurt.
And you said you turned back, face forward, and then somebody got your attention back?
Correct.
And what?
The screaming.
Now, do you see Josh Craner in this frame?
I do.
Okay, and can you circle him where he's at?
He was running right there.
And you saw the video straight through before, correct?
Correct.
And Josh Craner was about to get struck by the car, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so let's play that through. Stop the video. Do you know where Josh Craner was laying approximately?
To the left side of our vehicle. That's about all I remember.
Okay. Did you see two bodies flying forward?
Yes.
Do you recall, as you look at this picture, where Jackson was of the two bodies that flew forward?
I believe he was on the left side of the truck as well.
And do you know who the body is that's to the right of Jackson?
I don't, looking at it from here.
And do you know, as Jackson and Tucker were marching to the left of the truck, as you testified to, were they close together in distance?
Yes, they were close.
What do you see you doing now?
I picked up Maya, and I'm running to check on Jackson.
And
Over the top of him right now.
I was just going to say, if you can narrate, and that you said that at approximately 31 seconds, you were over the top of Jackson.
Yes. And now I just grabbed another one of our members.
You can pause it. Okay. And what are you doing?
Putting Maya in the back of the truck to keep her safe.
And how about Ella?
Ella, I was bringing her with me too, so I knew where she was.
Okay. At this point, had you seen Caden?
No.
Okay. Continue.
I'm talking to Caden now.
You're lifting someone up into the pickup truck?
Yes, that's Caden.
Okay.
And I'm yelling at him, asking where Riley is. And he's telling me he doesn't know. I told him to stay there, and I was going to go around and try to find her. As I went to the left of the truck, because I knew she was on that side.
You running down the street?
I saw somebody down in the road, praying it wasn't her. It was not.
When you said you saw someone else in the road, did it appear that that person was injured?
Yeah, they were down on the ground with people around them. Telling the kids that it'll be okay. And they're safe now with the truck.
At 2 minutes in, had you found Riley yet?
No. And then I'm pointing out that we need medical attention.
Who needs medical attention?
Jackson. At that point, I was just talking to Caden again, asking him if he remembered where Riley was. And I told him to come and help me find her. At this point, people are rushing in the stores as we heard shots were fired. So I grabbed Maya and Caden and ran into the nearest store I could find.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to take a mid-morning break at this point, about 15 to 20 minutes. All rise for the jury, please. All right, thank you, everyone. We are in recess. Sir, you may step down as well. Be back in minutes. All right, we will go back on the record appearances as they were before. I will have the jury brought out, and we'll continue with the questioning of this witness.
Judicial determination you made about the jurisdiction.
I thought I was very clear, sir.
So will proof be validated?
Your request is denied.
On what legal basis, Your Honor?
The record stands, sir.
Is that a judicial determination?
My ruling was put on the record earlier, sir.
So that is a judicial determination.
All rise.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Mr. Brooks, you may start your questioning of this witness then.
Just a second, Mama.
The theatrics.
I'm sorry about that. I just needed a second.
Acting!
I apologize to the witnesses. A little emotional right now for this. I apologize to the court as well for the delay. Can you recall what time you arrived at the parade that evening?
I don't remember exactly.
Do you recall how long you intended to stay?
Through the parade until it was done.
You testified earlier to seeing some of the video footage that was played. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, that's fair to say.
Do you recall how many times before today you saw the video footage?
I believe I saw one of the videos once.
And you don't recall any of the other videos?
Maybe clips we were bouncing around.
Do you recall by whom you were shown the videos?
The folks at the prosecution table.
That referring to the three prosecutors sitting there right now?
Yes.
All three?
Yes.
You stated in testimony earlier that you did not see the vehicle struck the children that were in front of you. Would that be fair to say?
I said sitting here today, I don't remember that.
You said something to that effect. Would that be fair to say?
You have to be more clear.
You said something to that effect of what you just said.
To what effect?
That you sitting here today that you do not recall seeing anyone struck ahead of you.
That's correct.
And then But then you also stated that you did see who was struck ahead of you.
Is that a question?
That'd be fair to say.
In relation to what?
In relation to someone being struck in front of you.
When I was there, or the video? What are you talking about?
At any time. When you was there.
When I wrote my statement, I wrote what I remembered at that time.
Fair to say that, as you're here today, that anything about your statement may have changed?
Nothing has changed.
So your testimony here today would be accurate to what you reported?
Everything I said has been accurate.
Do you recall saying in your interview with the DIC that your 11-year-old son and your daughter suffered minor injuries in the event?
I remember saying they were injured.
Do you recall saying that the injuries were minor?
No.
Direct witness to the statement?
Do you have a copy of that?
Yes, right here.
Is it his statement or summary?
It's not a statement, it is a statement from DCI, an agent from DCI, in which the DCI agent spoke with Mr. Rogers and wrote down what he believed was said to him. It was not signed by Mr. Rogers, it was not reviewed by Mr. Rogers, therefore I would object to this being characterized as this witness's statement.
Grounds.
If he would like to call the DCI agent, then he may do so.
Grounds.
Right, I'm going to sustain the objection as to the form of the question. Rephrase, if you're able.
Do you recall stating to whomever interviewed you from the DCI that the injuries were minor?
No.
Any reason why they would report that you said that?
I don't know, you'd have to.
Any reason why they would believe that that's what you said?
Objection.
Reported. Grounds.
Relevance.
Grounds.
Calls for speculation on the part of the witness. Sustained.
Do you remember giving a prepared statement at 10:45 a.m. on 11/22 of 2021?
I do.
Do you recall the gist of what you prepared?
Can you be more specific?
Specifically, that you heard commotion, turned around to see a stroller or something fall over about a block and a half behind us.
Yes.
You recall making that statement?
I do.
About how many people would you estimate was at the parade that day?
I would guess the thousands.
And you were able to see something fall over from a block and a half away amidst thousands of people?
Yes.
And you don't recall what that was that you saw?
No.
Any reason as to why you would name what you saw fall if you don't recall it?
I described it.
So you did see something fall?
Objection, asked and answered.
Grounds.
Asked and answered. Sustained.
Do you recall what the item was?
Objection.
Grounds.
Asked and answered.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Do you recall about what time you heard that shots were fired?
After watching the video, it's about 3 minutes, 2-3 minutes after the red SUV drove by us.
Do you recall the day of the incident, not the video?
I remember it was after the vehicle drove by us.
Did you hear shots?
No.
Do you remember who that was reported by?
I don't.
What did you do after you heard that shots were fired?
I looked for all of my children again and made the decision to take 2 of them into the antique store.
About how long did it take you to look for everybody before you went into the antique store?
Before or after the shots fired comment?
After the shots fired?
I think I did another lap around the car and then around our blazer struck and then grabbed my kids and left.
Were you able to retrieve everyone at that time?
No.
You recall who was missing?
Riley was missing.
Did you leave the antique shop anytime after you had gathered your loved ones to the antique shop?
Yes.
About how long before you left the antique shop?
I don't remember.
Do you remember what you did when you left the antique shop?
I remember at some point seeing Jackson again on the ground.
Did you continue looking for the loved one that you missed before you gathered the other ones into the antique shop?
To the best of my recollection.
You don't recall for sure?
It was pretty chaotic. I was looking constantly for my missing daughter.
Did you end up finding her?
I did not find her, no.
And who was being wiped?
He was another coach with the Blazers and a friend.
Was he with you in the antique shop?
No.
So at some point you got separated, would that be fair to say?
Separated from who?
Separated from Ben.
We were all separated as soon as the car drove by.
Any idea where he may have gone at that time?
No.
You remember talking to him after you had gathered everybody in the antique shop?
I remember at some point he reached out. I don't remember if it was text or phone call. Yes.
Did he say if he was injured in any way?
I don't remember.
Were you injured in any way?
No physical injuries.
Was it pretty windy that day, from your recollection?
From what I remember, there was a pretty good breeze, yes.
Pretty cold?
It was cool.
Pretty loud?
Normal parade sounds.
Would that be characterized as loud?
I guess it depends that would be subjective to the person there.
Would you say it was loud?
Not overly loud.
So you yourself were able to hear pretty good over a parade with thousands of people?
I would say so, yes.
You had one of your daughters, Maya, with you that day. Would that be fair to say?
That's fair to say.
Was she injured in the event?
I threw her to the ground to get her out of the way, so she had some scrapes.
And would that result from you throwing her to the ground?
I don't know.
Did she say that she had been injured in any way?
No.
Do you recall if anyone else besides your children who were injured?
I remember lots of people who were injured.
Do you recall?
I just answered that.
Specifically?
Get on.
Who, besides your children?
You want me to list all of the names that were injured?
No, just a rough estimate. That you recall?
That I recall 10 to 15 people that I saw.
That you actually observed?
Yes.
Did you render any assistance to any of those people?
No.
Any reason why not?
My daughter was missing.
So it'd be fair to say at that moment your concern was
hot
that
mess.
you didn't retrieve to go into the antique shop.
Mess.
My concern was for everyone that was just struck by the vehicle.
Including your daughter that was missing, right?
I was concerned about her missing, yes.
Did you file any reports other than just interview?
What do you mean?
Like an injury report of any kind?
Just what you had in front of you that you were reading from. That was my statement.
No. Did you file any injury reports or
Judge, that's a big question.
grounds?
Sustain us to the form of the question, sir. Please rephrase.
What I'm asking is, usually if there's an injury, you will file a complaint. To the best of your recollection, did you file any complaint from the incident?
I wouldn't consider it a complaint. I filed some paperwork saying that my children were injured, yes.
Do you recall if that was a complaint?
I like the fact that he is giving
Yes.
him eye
recall the claim
contact
was?
while he's
It was with the
testifying.
Victim Assistance Program.
Let him know.
And what does that consist of? What are their resources in pursuant to the complaint that you filed or claim that you filed? Right.
Can you rephrase?
What would be their assistance and to help you with your claim that you were filing?
It was to help with any medical bills that arose out of the situation.
So it would be fair to say that you had a financial interest in this incident.
Objection.
Grounds.
Mischaracterizes the testimony.
Grounds. I believe it's relevant to the fact that those were needed to be paid. It's relevant.
Overruled. He may answer.
I was looking to get the medical bills covered, yes.
So would that be fair to say that you had a financial interest?
I would say, sitting here today, I didn't care if it got approved or not. I was trying to get assistance for the medical bills.
So if it had gotten approved, would you have been able to do it yourself, or would you have seek to do it yourself?
Objection's relevance.
Grounds.
Sustain. The question is vague.
Would you have would you have paid the medical bills yourself,
Yes.
regardless of the price?
I generally pay my bills.
And specifically that matter, not the rest, specifically that matter.
Objection's relevance.
Grounds.
Sustain. Mr. Brooks.
Would you consider yourself an injured party in this case?
No.
Were you aware that you might be called to testify in this case?
Yes.
Did you seek to testify in this case?
No.
Now that's why you agreed to testify if you didn't seek to?
Objection's relevance.
Grounds.
Sustain.
Do you recall who informed you via subpoena to testify?
I received a subpoena from the DA's office, yes.
You did?
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
No problem.
Are you in this case?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustain.
Sneaky. So thank you for stopping in, and so I wanted to ask you a question. I think I wanted to really do a panel about the Sarah Boone case, right? Because I believe that after watching the trial, that this was premeditated. I'm not sure if you saw the state's rebuttal case. Well, no, it was the regular case. They showed videos that they found on her phone, right? So she was weaponizing the police department, calling them for no reason. Sometimes she will call and she wasn't even home, but said, "Oh, I'm scared to go home because I think he's there." I'm not sure if he's there, but I think he's there. And then when you look at the totality of everything, and then they show the videos of her taunting this man, he's sitting in a fetal position, sleeping outside of the bedroom door because she wouldn't let him come inside. And she would just antagonize him until he said something while she had the camera rolling. But all that backfired on her. But what I'm saying is he has started to kind of distance himself from it. So now I believe this is where domestic violence kicked in for that case, because just like a woman not leaving because of circumstances, the same thing was happening with him. But the only extra thing with him was she kept calling him to come home when he would leave. And when he would get there, she would call the cops on him like, "Oh, he has a non-contact order." So I think that all of that was planned up until the point that she unalived him in that suitcase. And so I think that I wanted to like get some, have a discussion about that, to get some other people's opinions, but that's just my opinion from watching from what I saw. And even the picture of her with the black eye, if you look at the picture that they showed and then go to, because she called the cops that day, the day after, her eye wasn't like that. So did this lady use shoe polish, put on use a Sharpie or something to make her injury appear worse than it was? Now, I know that when you get hit first, it's more than likely red, and you have to like wait till the next day to, right. And you have to wait till the next, that's why you need to be there. We need to do this, because I noticed the next day that she didn't have, it was not that bad. But George was already, if you are sitting somewhere in an environment where somebody's telling you over and over and over again, you're nothing, you're dumb, you're slow, you're this, you're that, that is abuse. And so some people start to believe that. And that's clear, clearly when they showed the videos of him. And I'm so glad that her defense team opened the door for them to bring those videos in, because the judge had said initially he wasn't going to allow it. And so her girl, it was just way too much. And then for her, I don't know if you saw the interrogation video where she swore on her son's life that she didn't hit that man. But now, because you want to use this battered, Nightbot Nightbot, don't come in here with no mess. Don't come in here timing nobody out. I'm gonna have to turn you back off. I'm sorry, you got me talking. You know how Nightbot is. He just popped up in here. So the only thing for me was like, it was very sad to see him. And people may not understand because they never been in the situation or don't believe, like, oh, it's not that serious. It is that serious. George weighed 103 pounds. Sarah weighed 100 pounds. There is no, he overpowered me and all this other stuff. But I couldn't wait till they played. I'm like, are they going to? Because her neighbors, except the one lady that came to court on her behalf, they were saying she was the aggressor. Every time they saw them outside fighting, she was the aggressor. Her ex-husband said that's one of the biggest reasons why they got divorced, is because she gets drunk and she gets violent. And so from what I've seen, when I tell you I was all in here messed up, because I'm very passionate about DV, but it doesn't make a difference whether it's a woman or a man. It's just totally wrong. But I'm so glad that they saw through her manipulation. And I'm so glad. Let me tell you something. I was so in tune. I said, let me go on here because I know somebody done did it. A body expert had, they've looked over her on the stand. And it's this doctor on here on YouTube. He broke it all the way down. And oh my gosh. They both were hangry, sneaky, but he did leave. He could have went back to his parents' house. That's where he would go. She would start harassing the family and everybody else, cussing his mother out, calling them all types of stuff. She's another kind. Sarah Boone is another kind of evil. I'm just going. Did you really say? Did you really say that that man was in a suitcase? You done flipped the suitcase over on the other side, and you said because he had two fingers out, he could unzip the suitcase. I didn't even know until the trial that she beat him with a bat. My mind was blown. And so from what the medical examiner said, those injuries he had could not have happened while he was in that suitcase. It had to happen before. You know, they got all types of stuff and she totally changed her story from the beginning. I watched this trial. I kept up with it for a long time, you know, when it first started, because it was interesting. And everything she said, girl, they was getting it in. But she tried to make it seem like she was the saint and she needed to help him with arts and crafts. I'm like, and I'm so glad the prosecutor said it in the end. She said that it was not intentional. Now she changed because she finally had a what do you call that? She finally had attorneys to represent her, because she had 8 court appointed attorneys that quit. She's hard to deal with. And so they diagnosed her with narcissistic traits, but they couldn't diagnose her as a full-blown narcissist, which that's what I believe was because she lied to them. She didn't give them all the information to make the correct diagnosis. Girl, I was in here. You should have heard me. I don't know if you watched the beginning of my video when they said guilty and I was screaming and hollering, because I told them, I said, we're going to get a verdict tonight. I knew them people was tired of her, because we was on the outside looking like, what? But I had no idea it was as bad as it was. Sarah and my life, they both were jacked up. The relationship was toxic. But once I saw the videos, that man was abused. And he may not have been as smart as she was with his mouthpiece. And so that man was abused. The way he was sitting there on that ground and the way she put on the camera to make him say things on the camera. And then he would be like, okay, you could turn the camera off. She was like, that's not good enough. Keep going. So he was like, oh, Sarah's a wonderful woman. She was like, yes, an angel. And yeah, on top of that, there's a couple more things in there sneaky, but she bamboozled them because she did not give them enough information to really study her. And another thing that I found out, she was on TV a long time ago on a dating show. She was very, very young. You know, some people get a taste of the celebrity life and then think that it's a forever thing. Like at the end of the day, these celebrities are not helping you, right? I worked with a lot of celebrities. I mean, you know, something happened. I mean, put up a picture or something like that. But I've never been starstruck because these are people just like you are, and they can fall off just like you can. Just look at Puff. Look at Diddy. No Diddy. But this, it is mine. I'm just saying. I know they both was getting, you know, drunk and everything, but she was a abuser. And George ain't know which way to go. You look in one of those videos where they sitting there and she's sitting with her legs up and they're on the back porch and she is just got this camera in his face talking to him like he was a dog. She treated him like he was a dog. Now she got 2 dogs. I guess he was the 3rd. But yeah, I mean, I think that would be an interesting topic to talk about. I would like to get others' take on her. What do they see after you see the videos that they got off her phone? The prosecution got off her phone and show she girl, if you was, what were you who were you documenting for? What was the evidence supposed to be for? because it worked against you. It backfired bad on her. And so she gets sentenced on December 2nd. I think it's a Monday. It's on Monday. December 2nd, she gets sentenced. But yeah, I agree with you that she is a psychopath, and that judge is very fair, just like Judge Dora was fair, and people don't understand in law. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a true crime buff. They have to protect the record. So this judge here and that judge that was on Sarah Boone's case, I like both of them. They're both fair. They're protecting the record. It may be, we may be sitting out here talking about, like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why is you putting up with this, that, and the third? Any little technicality can get a conviction overturned. So these judges are protecting the record. Now, YSL, they need a little help over there. I'm gonna need the judge that handles Sarah Boone's case to go on, let them bring the trial over there. It's already been a mistrial so many times. And what they did the other day, ain't no way in the world y'all still trying to, y'all got these men locked up, y'all done took their lives from them already. And now we on the mistrial watch for the YSL case. We don't know how it's going to go. But it should be a mistrial. The prosecutors, that stuff that's happening, that's illegal, ain't no more. Y'all ran out of, we made a mistake. They ran out of that. At this point, it's just a straight up mistrial, and it should be a mistrial with prejudice. They should not be able to try this case again, the YSL case again. They violated almost every law, and let me see if I can think of maybe one or two of their law enforcement officers from Fulton County got on that stand and didn't perjure themselves. Every other officer that got on that stand so far in the YSL case has perjured themselves. They've lied. So they lied to the court. Some of this is I hope that young man sues the pants off of them for doing to him what they did. Quindara's Zachary. Y'all went to the hospital and locked this boy up. He was in the hospital and he's not charged in this indictment at all. He's not, y'all didn't charge him. So y'all never even gave him the chance not to show up. They had this judge file this arrest warrant because they lied to her. She needs to open her eyes and start looking at things the way they really are. They lied to you. That's your signature on that arrest warrant that you gave them. And this man, y'all done put his medical business all up and through these streets and anywhere else. And he didn't give y'all permission to do that until he was on the stand. I want to say day 2. They spoke to his doctor. So y'all was talking about it all before that. Like, and then we want to say, oh, they're trying to take the people down the color. For the YSL case, stop. Let's stop that for that case, because those are African American women that are trying to bring this man down. How do you allow lyrics and Instagram pictures to be most of your evidence? You can post something right now and I can repost it. How are y'all like, it is just too much going on over there, but they're on mistrial watch. So let's see what happens. Fannie Willis trying to get she's trying to get reelected, and so she's from what they said that they've been in talks with them since they've been on this mistrial watch. That's not what they call it, but that's what I call it. And they've been in meetings with Fannie. You spent a lot of money on this trial for no reason. They even had so far 2 people that don't even exist. Lil Woody made up these people. The whole case was brought because of Lil Woody. Now he out here living his best life, and I love that for him. I do. He's so talented. I wish the circumstances were different. But you are the one that you are the biggest reason that they have Doug on trial. But I just see like this is a bad thing for the community. People can like young Doug or not like him. I've heard some of his songs. He has some nice music, but I'm not a fan like that. But I'm a fan of justice. Like you don't lock these men away all this time, and y'all don't have no evidence. They don't have any evidence against young Doug. He's only charged with 1 count, and that's the RICO count. So anything that happens in Georgia, these people are bringing it into the courtroom talking about they did this for Doug. When you start looking at the evidence, and those guys getting on the stand saying, they're saying he didn't want to be bothered if you wasn't going to get your stuff together, because now he was in a position to employ them. So he hired some of them. And the other ones that he didn't hire was because they were still out here doing stuff in the streets, and he was telling them to stop. You don't have to do that no more. You don't have to do any of that anymore. I'm going to give you a job. The prosecution did not do any the prosecution did not take into account his financial records. Sneaky. His financial records. You guys never asked to see his financial records? So y'all don't know how much money he has. So y'all thought this was an easy grab, and they mad because Doug's money is long. He got one of the best attorneys. Yeah, I'm going to go back to the video. I just was talking about, I thought about you yesterday when they came out with the, when I saw the videos, I was like, oh my God, you popped into my head. And I was just like, wow. But that whole other thing, that's a whole nother mess in itself. I'm gonna wait till Monday and see what they're gonna do with this YSL trial, but they need to let the men go home. Y'all don't have no evidence, no clear-cut evidence. And all the evidence that y'all have, Jeffrey Williams is not mentioned in any of those other charges except count 1, and that's the RICO charge. So under the RICO statute, they don't have to prove as much as they have to prove when you are like just in front of when you're just, if they were charged individually, they would not be able to charge them as a RICO case. But in order to get Doug, based on these witnesses that clearly committed some of these crimes, you gave them immunity already. I am talking about unaliving people. These people have clearly unalived people. The evidence shows it. And you gave them immunity. All except one guy named Sledge. He got on the stand, didn't testify the way I wanted him to testify. He had an issue with his plea before. He had an issue with his plea before his attorneys reached out to you and you guys told him, first you said you wasn't changing anything. Then they told him, oh, just wait till he comes into court. Once he's on the stand, we'll be able to change it. They didn't change anything. And so you got this man. He came to court, as you said. You're upset because he spoke facts on the stand when he was on the stand. Who you talking to, love? I'm not your child. I'm not scared of you, and I'm not scared of I'm not scared of young dog or none of these people over there. But you're not gonna keep talking to me like that because I'm not your damn child. He had every right to say that. He had to bring her back because his attorney told them they did not agree with I think it was count 6, 7, and the plea agreement of 6, 7, and 8 or something like that. She had him sign like they have 2 copies of those pleas for Sledge. You had him sign 1 copy, and then you flipped it, and somehow what you changed is now back on the agreement that you showed the judge, and that's why the judge allowed them to have the hearing for Sledge, and he's incarcerated right now. Y'all done used this man. He done came to court. How many days was Sledge on the stand? 2 times, I think. And he's trying to speak his truth. He said he told y'all before. Jeffrey Williams ain't a part of. He's not a part of all this stuff that's going on. I did that. But guess what? They already have served their time. A lot of these cases that they brought to bring this RICO have already been in front of a judge, and they have already ruled on these cases. I'm confused. Maybe an attorney can help me because I'm not an attorney. How are they able to take these cases that have already been in front of a judge and a jury, and the jury has already decided these men's fate, and they have done time based on whatever? So how does Georgia get to take people that were already previously convicted with something and make it a part of this case? None of it makes sense. This is wrong. And if we care about anything, if people care about justice, everybody should be paying attention to this because it could be you. And that's just what I got to say. Don't come over here with the race card. Please stop. This is the only the most Caucasian person on the other side of the aisle is the judge, and they have 2 prosecutors who one prosecutor just started showing up, but the other young guy, Prosecutor Atkins, he has been there for the trial. But they have this other prosecutor his name is Abbasi. He's a whole mess. So he just started coming into the courtroom because y'all done so much. It's really, really sad. People need to pay attention, not just because it's Doug or anything like that. Because like I said, if I hear his music on the radio, I'll listen to it. But if I don't hear his music on the radio, I'm not looking for him like that. But I do know that he's an icon. Like, he's done a lot of stuff that some of these other artists can do. These high-end labels will not allow you to be a part of their campaigns. People need to look at Diddy, Brother Love, Puffy, whatever he's going by today. Look at him and how all those brands snatched their deals from him. You got to look at it like that. We can't blame the whole industry for everything. You can't, and that's why I have an issue with Jaguar Wright. And I don't even have to say this lady name on my channel, but I have an issue with the way she's going around. And the people are so delusional. She telling the truth. She was a stand-in on Unplug because Mary J. Blige couldn't make it. And she was in a Coca-Cola commercial. But the reason why her career didn't go anywhere, because in her mind, which was something that she was doing before she got in the industry, sleeping her way to the top was the way. I am a retired, published, paid model. And I wish somebody would. You have to draw the line and let people know what you're going to allow and what you're not going to allow. But I can even tell you, as being a model, and I'm not nothing against Instagram models or anything like that. If that's what you think is modeling, cool. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about major high-end fashion people. They don't want you. They don't want you in their brand. You're not going to mess up their brand. That's just the way it is, and that's what it was. And the way I look at this trial, I just think these people is jealous again. They jealous of Doug because they was not given Doug name. They kept trying to get for both people to keep saying that they was doing this for Doug and all doing this for Doug. And the people, even in the interrogations, you see, they're like looking like, what? No, they was doing that because they've been doing that. And so now y'all in the court talking about if you wearing red, you the blood. Why is they changing all the C's to the B's and all this? It's not against the law to be in the gang. It's against the law to commit a crime. But it's not against the law to be in a gang. The old Rascals was a gang. The Little Rascals was a gang. Am I lying? The Little Rascals was a gang. They used to walk around all the time talking about, the old gangs. And anybody that's wearing green and anybody and so Doug's attorney made a great point. He's ornery crossing some of these, these people. All right. So the lyrics to this song, do you know who wrote them? The boy, it's like 5-6 writers on that song. So you can't say that everybody that helped co-write this music is in a gang. It's a lot for me to take somebody's life for this long and don't have no evidence against them. I'm for what's right. And this is all wrong. Especially you keep denying this man a bail when he was going to pay for all the extra security. He was getting ready to turn his house into a jail. That's the way I'm going to explain the way his attorney, when his attorney went to court for his last bail hearing, I'm going to just say it like that. He was about to turn his house into a jail. So everything that they have to do to come visit them in jail, you would have to do that if you went to Doug's house. You would have to be on a list approved by the prosecutors. This man just want to be home. They don't care about anybody. And sneaky, there is another component if you want to look it up. This is definitely something that you talk about. So in Fulton County, there was a 18-year-old. No, he wasn't. He was in juvenile first. I have to find out what his name is now again. He was autistic with mental issues since he was a child. He has all types of mental diagnosis. And the prosecutor that's on this YSL trial case told them to the family was lying because they just wanted him to get him off the charges. They was lying about his history. She moved this young man that was underage to Rice Street, which is one of the worst jails in history. They kind of under investigation right now. And the young man unalived himself. And the nurse came to the unit. I'm somebody that I worked in a jail for 7.5 years as a correction officer. I've never heard of anything like this before. The nurse showed up in the area where the young man was being held. Now, he was supposed to be in medical, but he wasn't. So the nurse showed up and they asked her to provide him some CPR to help him, to see if you can help him. And the nurse said, my knee hurt. Okay, with that, I'm going to go back and just turn this video on because her knee hurts, so she can't render any aid to this inmate that's passing away, because now his mental got the best of him. And so he unalived himself, and they didn't render any aid because the nurse said her knee hurted. I'm gonna just leave it right there, and then I'm gonna just go back over here because I'm triggered by just even talking about that. That's just crazy to me.
Have you read a complaint pursuant to this case at any time?
Not that I remember, no.
Do you understand that for charges to be issued, that it has to be a claim, therefore it has to be a plaintiff?
Objection.
Grounds.
Okay, so first of all, the grounds are relevancy. It's not relevant. That'd be the
You
grounds.
also have to state the grounds.
Hold on, let her get her position out, Mr. Brooks.
And it mischaracterizes the former testimony.
Sustained as to both grounds. Under 906.11, move on, please.
So you're not sure if there's a plaintiff?
Objection.
Grounds.
Relevance.
Sustained.
Have you ever had any interaction with the plaintiff?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Are you aware who brought charges in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained.
If you're not sure of a complaint, how can you be sure of the charges in this case?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained. Mr. Brooks, under 906.11, please move on to a new topic, or your cross-examination will be shortened and cut off.
Your Honor, with all due respect, every question I'm asking is relevant. If it pertains to the plaintiff in this matter, that seems to be nowhere found.
In a legal argument, we'll take that up outside the presence of the jury. Move on.
I believe the jury deserves to know who the plaintiff is in this matter. That's very relevant to the case. How can they rule on something when they don't
Mr.
know
Brooks,
who the plaintiff is?
please, move on. Next question, or I will turn it back over to the state for redirect.
Can you recall if you saw the driver of the vehicle?
I don't remember seeing the driver.
Were you able to catch a glimpse of the license plates?
No,
Do you recall if the vehicle had any tinted windows?
I don't remember.
About how far from the vehicle were you when it passed you?
From the red SUV?
About how far from the vehicle were you when it passed you?
Can you tell me which vehicle you're talking about?
How far from the vehicle were you when it passed you? The vehicle that went around your Blazers vehicle.
I guess I would ask the defendant to be more clear as to what vehicle and when it went around, like at the beginning of the parade, before it struck his kids.
I was just clear. I said the vehicle that went around his Blazers.
Sustained as to the form of the question. Please rephrase.
The vehicle that you observed, or rather I'll say the vehicle that you observed approaching. About how far from it were you when it passed you?
Just to clarify, is he saying the red SUV that this witness has described as that red SUV was approaching him, or some other vehicle?
Sustained as to the form of the question.
Well, I thought he was clear when he said that there
You
was
have to
only
be clear
one
with your
vehicle.
question, Mr. Brooks.
Excuse me, Your Honor?
You have to be clear with your question. It's vague.
He
As
said
to the
it was
word
only one.
vehicle, you need to be clear which vehicle you're questioning the witness
The
about.
vehicle that was approaching, that he said
At
was
what
approaching.
point in time, what color is the vehicle, something like that, sir.
The vehicle that you observed strike anyone. How close were you to that vehicle when it passed you?
The red SUV was about 10 feet probably from me.
And you didn't see the driver, correct?
Correct.
Did you see anyone else in the vehicle?
I did not look in the vehicle.
Would that be a no?
That's a no.
Thank you.
Would it be fair to say that 10 feet from a vehicle is pretty close?
Subjective.
What would you say? Would you say that's pretty close?
It depends what you're talking about.
Would you say that 10 feet is pretty close to a vehicle?
Depends. If they're driving, yes.
Would it be fair to say that that's close enough to be able to see who was driving?
It depends on many other factors.
What would those factors be?
Eyesight, windows up, down. If they're looking at the vehicle,
I'm assuming it would be fair to say that you were definitely looking at the vehicle, correct? Would that be fair to say?
when?
When it was approaching and when it passed?
Get him.
Any reason why you would not try to identify the driver?
Because my children were about to be struck.
Any reason why you would not try to see if you can catch a license plate number?
Because people had just been hit.
So it would be fair to say because of what you was observing, that would be the reason why you didn't try to get a description of the driver or the license plate?
My priority at the time was not identifying the driver.
No further questions.
Thank you. Any redirect?
Just briefly, Your Honor. Sir, you had indicated that you submitted a claim to the victim witness program for medical bills. Is that correct?
Correct.
Were those the medical bills for Caden and Riley that were incurred as a result of the red SUV hitting both of those children?
Yes.
Overruled. His answer, Ms. Dan.
And it was yes?
Yes. Sure.
Thank you. No further questions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. You may step down. You may call your next witness.
David Paul Jr.
Good morning, sir. If you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is up a riser to my right. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand. My clerk, Teresa, who's on my left, will swear you in.
Nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Thank you, sir. Please be seated. The first.
Okay, so you watched a couple people on the stand today. I kind of got sidetracked because I was, some things are just, I'm passionate about some things, and some things I can divert my attention the other way. So, however, I'm not going to stay here long. We've been here already for almost 2 hours. So I am going to maybe go live tomorrow so we can finish up this day. But the discussion about Sarah Bloom and her ex-boyfriend or ex-fiance, depending on when you ask her a question, or fiance still. You can't say the man is a monster, then get on the stand and say, he's a monster, but oh, I love him. He was so sweet to me. Oh my God. And then she had to remember to say when he was sweet. Because, yeah, we listening. We hear you, Sarah. But anyhow, so yeah, it's been an hour already. And so I'm not going to keep you guys here. So I am getting ready to take it down. If you stop through, and even if you were in the bushes or whatever, like the video, I don't know that you were watching from the bushes or whatever. So, but that's all. I'm not going to, like I said, hold you. I went on a tangent, speaking about something that I was passionate about. And so I am not going to hold you guys too long, because there's a lot going on YouTube. I'm not the most popular YouTuber. I'm just, getting it together. Getting back into the niche that I started my channel for. So I'm going to be here going live, talking to the people. People show up, they show up. They don't, they don't. I'm going to keep at it. And that's just that. Right? So, before I end this thing, I'm going to end it the way I always do. Please be sure to get your mammograms. Feel your boobies to make sure that you are all right. All right? And don't you dare let anybody come into your house and disturb the peace that passes all understanding. I am Survivor Speaks, and I will see you in the next video, upload, live, whatever it is going to be. Enjoy your weekend. Till next time, deuces.
Yeah, I'm a survivor. If you asked how I'm still standing, I can only give you one reply.